how to help now, and two, how to address the root causes of drought and intensifying fires to prevent this from happening again. But instead, we've seen officials in the Trump administration are talking about DEI instead of how we're going to help people. My colleague, Representative Blint, has already made that point. They're talking about how to cut disaster aid instead of letting FEMA do its job, which is literally to help people after disasters. I'd like to hear from Mr. Freevold, our witness, who's a retired fire chief. And please, a yes or no answer. The question won't be that difficult. Yes or no, is DEI making firefighters less effective?
No.
Thank you. And that's so right. So contrary to Elon Musk's claims that the LA firefighters did not prioritize DEI over saving lives. That is a lie, and it is a slap in the face to dedicated professionals and volunteers across the country who undergo rigorous training and risk their lives to save others. It was offensive when President Trump used DEI to blame air traffic controllers, and it's offensive here too. And despite Trump's lies about FEMA, the agency continues to help disaster-impacted communities during times of great need. So again, I'd like to ask a question to Mr. Freevold. Mr. Freevold, yes or no? Is climate change worsening disasters?
From the fire perspective, the one element of climate change I can speak to is vapor pressure deficit.
Is that a yes?
That part is making it more severe, yes.
Thank you, sir. So as climate change worsens disasters across the country and as FEMA disaster declarations rise, districts across the country, represented members across the political spectrum are at risk. In fact, in 2 Illinois counties from my district that it runs through, Cook County and DuPage County, we've had no fewer than 5 disasters declared since 2019. 2 of those disasters, both flooding related, hit my district real hard, and many of my constituents were able to receive FEMA's assistance for repairs and losses. Without further ado, Mr. Chair, I would like to yield my time to my friend from California, Mr. Swalwell.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. I've toured the Altadena area. I visited the Palisades. I've had disasters in my own district, fire and flood. And every person in those disasters and experiences told me the same thing. They just want the government to help them. They just want the government to help them. That's what a woman told me when she stood on a pile of ashes in the Palisades and brought gloves and a large garbage bag and searched for any memento for her child and walked away with a tin bowl that her daughter uses in her make-believe kitchen. She's not worried about the red team or the blue team. She's not worried about did DEI cause this or not. She just wants the government to help them. My colleagues, including Mr. Issa, we walked Altadena last week together. We heard the fire chief say these were 80-mile-per-hour winds. He said it would have taken every fire engine in California to stop the devastation that occurred in California. So I just asked my colleagues, let's work together on this. Let's be in the solutions business. Don't use DEI as an alibi. Because when the president blames DEI on an air disaster and blames DEI on a fire disaster, what that tells me is DEI to you stands for didn't even investigate. That's what it means to fire victims in California as well. So we're in the solutions business here. And Chief Freevold, I'd like for you to just tell us, as we move forward, as we look at code and zoning, what can we do to better protect against unseasonable winds in this new era that we're in?
I'd return back to my opening statements on the 3 concurrent integrated actions. I don't believe you're here for there, but essentially prioritize selective management of combustible fuels immediately adjacent to wildland-urban interface communities, retroactively harden existing structures in WUI communities through evidence-based mitigations with defensible space, and require evidence-based mitigations to be included in part of the actuarial pricing of insurance rate setting.
Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Garcia. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. We'll now go to Congressman from California, Mr. Issa.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and couldn't, hello, Mr. Hill.